blanket or a bolster and put it by your side, and we'll be on our backs to start. Oh. So once you arrive on your back, go ahead and bring your hands either to your lowest ribs or maybe even your belly, and start to feel the breath come down into your belly. Feel the hands rise and fall with your breath. All right, and go ahead and take another nice deep breath into the belly, really big into the pelvis, and let it all the way out like you're blowing out 100 birthday candles, and you got to get real deep, deep into your core. And then on your next breath in, go ahead and grab either your blanket or your bolster. Have your feet on the mat, push down through your feet and lift your pelvis up, and get the blanket or bolster up underneath your pelvis, and then you'll drop on into it. So for me, I chose to roll up my blanket a little bit and settle on into that. You're going to find this place, hopefully, that feels like you could just drop into it so it's restorative-like. And then once you get there, allow the hands to come by the sides. Take a nice deep breath in, bring your right knee into your chest. Hug that knee in, either by grabbing the knee or the back of the leg. And then find nice length if you choose through your left leg. So right knee's drawn into chest, left leg is nice and long. Once you draw that right knee into your chest, go ahead and soften your shoulders and your jaw. We'll take 2 breaths here. Nice deep breaths into the belly. And maybe there's a sigh out. And then keep that right knee into your chest and start to make some big circles with your right ankle. So your big toe is your driver. And just imagine as if the ankle could make full circles, but it's most likely going to be some kind of interesting type of circle. And then pause, and then we'll go back the other way. Good. Pausing with that, allow the right foot to come to the mat. Both feet will come to the mat. Settle your pelvis once again, so you might sway your knees side to side, just to let your pelvis kind of fall into the blanket or the bolster once again. And then we'll bring our right or left knee into the chest. And I'm going to have to adjust my prop accordingly. So left knee in the chest, and then right leg goes nice and long and slow as you get really long on that right side. From there, we'll take 2 nice belly breaths. Again, if it feels good to sigh, do so. But the most important part of the breath is really pushing all the breath out of your system, like you're getting rid of anything you're holding on to. Let's do that breath one more time. And start to make some circles with your ankle, one leg left toe, left big toe is your driver. Around it goes. And the other way. Good, and pause there. Returning your left foot to the mat. Both feet will go to the mat. From here, we're going to take our arms up overhead. So arms up, palms up. And then we're going to see if it feels best to keep our feet on the ground or take your legs long. And then for me, I'm going to have to adjust my blanket again to bring it a little bit down so that my back is a little bit longer. So usually the lower we bring the prop, the more rounded shape your back is going to be. And my back needs that because it's always in a sway. So you get to find what works for you just by wiggling that blanket around and finding the perfect spot. So we could stay right here, reaching our fingertips away over our head and getting long through our heels. So it's like I'm reaching or trying to push something away at the bottom of my foot, and I reach down through my heel as I'm still reaching my hands up overhead, and do that with both sides. Heel on the left reaches, heel on the right reaches, and arms reach up overhead. From here, you could decide to stay or return your feet to the mat. If you want to do more, you're going to go into banana shape, bringing your hands over to the right side of your mat. Head's going to move to the right side of your mat. And then feet might go to the right side of your mat. Okay, and then once we do that, we might notice, gosh, my hips do not like to be propped up like this when I'm in banana shape. So if that's coming into your mind, then just come back to center, remove the blanket or bolster, and then join us again. We'll take 2 more breaths here. On your next inhale, bring your feet back to center, your hands back to center. Reach overhead like you could reach even further than you just did. Maybe you even wiggle your shoulder blades a little bit higher up by your ears or towards the top of the mat. And make sure your head even might lift a little bit and get some length going there. And then push through one heel, get long through one heel, and then the other. So you're really long. And then we'll take our hands over to the left if we choose. Head and hands can go to the left. Maybe feet go to the left. We'll hang out there for 2 breaths. Again, if you get to this side and the bolster or blanket just is not working, you can always remove it on this side. One more nice deep breath in. Maybe it needs to sigh on out. Really recognizing how those little strange things we do in yoga really helps us just relieve any tension through our body. And then on your next breath in, your feet will come back to center. Your hands will come back to center. Your feet will come back to the mat. And then the hands will come by your side. On your next inhale, push down through your feet if you haven't already and remove the blanket or bolster. End up with your pelvis dropping back down to the mat. We'll bring both knees into the chest here, hugging those knees in. Let's take reverse child's pose by taking our knees apart. but allowing the toes to still kiss together. So big toes touch, knees draw apart, soften the shoulders, the head, and we'll stay here for a breath. Softening the shoulders and the jaw as we pause. Bringing the knees together, rolling on over to a side. Find your way up into seated position. I'm a big advocate of sitting up on something, just so our pelvis gets a little bit happier. Good. All right, from there, we're going to do some work for our neck. So first off, for our neck, we have to recognize if it's forward of our spine. And then we'll tuck our chin a little bit, drawing our chin back, kind of like we're trying to give ourselves 3 chins. And then let our head be right over our spine. Excuse me. From there, you're going to bring your right ear to your right shoulder. And then we're going to slowly reach away with our left fingertips. So we might end up with our fingertips in a little bit of a tent-like position, tent stakes, reaching down towards the ground. Or we might end up just with the left hand on the knee, or maybe walking our fingertips away. And you might get a little interested in the space by bringing your chin now down towards your right chest and up again. So it's right ear to right shoulder, and then choice to bring your chin down towards your chest. And they actually call this stretch pocket stretch because you imagine you've got front pockets in your yoga pants and you're trying to look down at it. It's more like you're looking at your right knee though. So a couple more times, just coming in and out of that stretch. If you don't feel anything, make sure your left shoulder blade is going down your back. And we'll go ahead and return ourselves to center with the hands and the legs, or the hands, and we'll go into our churn the butter. So we'll end up popping our ribs out to the right. Then we'll draw our ribs back in space, over to the left and forward. And remember, our pelvis is trying to stay put, and the ribs are trying to move around the pelvis. Once we get that movement down, let's go ahead and add the breath. Inhaling as we come forward, exhaling as we go back. And it might feel good to breathe in deep through the nose, and then as you exhale, pretend like you're blowing out 100 birthday candles. Really getting into that core as you rotate back. We'll pause. We'll go back the other way. Forward, side, back, connection with the breath. Two more times, make them count, really blow out all the breath. And we'll pause there, sit up tall, make sure that our head is in line with our spine. Once again, it's not forward. We'll bring our left ear to our left shoulder, start to walk our right fingertips out to the right. Decide if that feels like enough for us today. Otherwise, deep breath in, we'll look straight out, and then possibly as you exhale, looking down towards your left knee, or imagining you have pockets in your left front of your hands. Inhaling, looking forward. Exhaling, looking down. We'll rock that a few times. If you're not feeling anything as you look down, make sure you're really reaching through your right fingertips, or you might have the sensation of drawing your right shoulder blade down your back. Last one here. Good. Coming back to center. We'll turn our head to the right. Then we'll start to look up. Head to the left and down. So we'll go right, up, left. Draw it down. Add the breath. Inhaling as you come up. Exhaling as you go down. We'll pause the next time we go to center. We'll go the other way. Right, down, left, up. Next time you're at center, go ahead and pause there. Let's see if we can deepen our pocket stretch now. So we're going to take our right arm and take it behind your back. So you're imagining your right fingertips either coming to your low back, or you're walking your fingertips to where your thigh and your belly kind of meet, waving at you there, okay? So first off, we have to make sure that this right shoulder is dropping. It can't be way up by our ear, or we're not going to feel the stretch completely. So dropping right shoulder, and you're going to bring left ear to left shoulder, and then start to look down again. And we should feel a stretch here, kind of this muscle connects to our shoulder blade and then draws up and connects into the highest part of our cervical spine, right on the side. So upper neck on the side. We'll stay here for one more breath. And on your next inhale, we'll come on out, unwind the hands, and let's try the other side. Left arm goes to the low back, palm away, or really draw it over towards this right thigh belly area. Left shoulder drops. It has to stay down. It can't be up by the ear. Then right ear to right shoulder, and you'll slowly start to look down towards your right knee, or pretend like you have a pocket. If it feels like it's better to pulse in and out, you can sure do that. One more breath in this position. Good. On your next inhale, we'll come out of that position. We'll find ourselves on all fours here. We are going to go right down to our bellies. So if you need a blanket underneath the knees, that's fine. But otherwise, we're just going to be on our knees for a moment. So take yourself in all fours, space between the hands and the knees, so you can walk your hands forward or your knees back. And then you're going to let your chest come over the hands, bend your elbows, and see if you can slowly draw yourself down towards the mat. Once you arrive there, your hands will be on the sides of the chest. And we'll inhale, lift our heads up into cobra position. We'll do it 3 times with the hands either lifted or hovering or barely using them. So cobra position, inhale, lift, exhale, head comes down. Inhale, head lifts. Exhale, head comes down. One more time. Inhale, head lifts. Don't use the hands. Exhale, nose almost comes down. This time you have an option to push gently down through the hands. So keep your elbows hugged in, gently push down through the hands. See if you can come up a little bit higher with your chest off of the ground. Heads of arm bones go back in space and slowly lower yourself on down. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhaling, elbows hug into the sides. Bottom tips of shoulder blades might be able to squeeze together some. Exhale, let your nose almost drop. Last time here. Inhale it up, gently push down through those hands. See if your elbows can squeeze together, bottom tips of shoulder blades squeeze together, and you're looking up or at least at the top of your mat. Slowly lower on down. From there, let your arms come out in front of you for Sphinx position. So my forearms are right out from my elbows. And here we're going to think about lifting even longer through our heart and chest. Bringing our chin up, breath in. And then as you exhale, keep your upper back as it is, but bring your chin towards your chest. Inhale, lift that head on up. Exhale, chin to the chest. 2 more times at your own pace. Last time here. From here, go ahead and lift your head. If that felt really good and you're having a night that's just kind of exhausting physically, then we're going to continue with our head up and down. Otherwise, we're going to go into a little bit of a core work, remembering we have our Shavasana or our actual relaxation pose at the end. So try to beef up our practice here a little bit with some core work. All right, from here we're going to bring our chin towards our chest. We're going to bow our chin towards our chest so much that we start to feel our lowest ribs, the bottom of our heart, pull away from the mat. From there, see if your belly will lift and your thighs will lift. Tuck your tail on under. Think about a little bit of a cat position here in your low back. And then if you don't feel that yet, draw your elbows and knees towards each other. And slowly lower yourself on down. Tops of feet on the mat, open on up. We'll do that 2 more times. If you're game, drawing chin towards chest, feel your lowest ribs, bottom of the heart move up to the sky. Belly lifts, tuck tail, thighs might lift, draw knees and elbows towards each other. Breath in, breath out, come on down. Sphinx pose. 1 more time here. Draw chin to the chest. Lowest ribs lift. Belly might lift. Thighs might lift. Draw knees and elbows together. Breath in. Breath out. Lowering yourself all the way down again. Good job. Hands by the sides of the chest. Hug your elbows in. Hug the bottom tips of your shoulder blades in. Curl your toes under and push yourself on up to all fours. And now we'll get our blanket under the knees if you choose to. If you have those blocks, you can go ahead and grab them. They'll just be those extensions of your arms. Once you get that, go ahead and bring your right foot in between the blocks. Take your time. If you're already here with yourself set up, just go ahead and inhale, lift your chin. Exhale, draw it into your chest. Once we get here, we're going to just feel like we're stable with our hands on the blocks. Top of foot for right now is on the mat. Back knee is right up underneath the pelvis. And we'll inhale, let our chest come forward, our shoulder blades move towards each other. Heads of arm bones kind of go back in space in a sense. And then as you exhale, round, chin towards the chest and tuck. A few more times like that. Inhaling, looking on up. Heart moves forward. Shoulder blades move towards each other. Exhale, round. One more time like that. On your next inhale, see if it's all right to bring the hands to the knees, stabilize there. Start to bring your right arm back behind you. Left hand will be to the outside of the right knee. Reach your right fingertips on back. Gently push your front knee into that left hand. So the front hand or the left hand is going to encourage the knee towards the midline, but then the knee's going to come back and resist against that. So they're pushing into each other. And then you're going to see how much of your upper back you can turn. Maybe you see you can look back behind you, possibly. No extra points if you can. Soften the tops of the shoulders. Take another deep breath in here. And exhale, bring both hands to the knees. Grab a hold of your blocks. Take your knee a little bit back behind the pelvis. So it's going to go back a little bit. Curl your toes under. Push down through your foot and lift yourself into a low lunge here. All of our toes are pointed to the front of the mat. From here you could stay or decide to let your chest and head rotate to the right. Maybe right hand goes up towards the sky or out to the right. Your choice. Breath in. Breath out. Touch towards your block. We're going to do that 2 more times. Keep strong through your back leg. Push that back heel away as you look to the right and draw it down. One more time. Try to use both the hands to the least amount. So left hand barely uses the block. Exhale, draw that hand on down. Drop the back knee, and we'll switch sides here. If you need to take a pause in any way, go ahead and do so, and then just join us when you're ready. So from here, we'll end up with the back knee right underneath the pelvis, the front foot, the left foot under, in between the blocks. We'll just do a few familiar cat-cow-like actions here. Breath in, lift your chin, let your heart move forward. Shoulder blades move towards each other. Breath out, round, chin towards the chest. Keep going with that. The next time your head comes to center, see if it's okay to bring your hands to the knees. We'll pause in the right hand to the outside of the knee. Left fingertips might reach to the left, or you might be able to twist. Revolve your sternum to the left. Twist, twist, twist. And then lastly, the right hand's gonna push into the knee, but the knee's gonna push into the hand, a resistance. We'll pause here for 2 breaths. Make sure the tops of your shoulders are nice and soft. Good, revolving back, grab to your blocks. We'll get that back toe curled under, move the knee back some, push down through that back foot, lift that back knee into a crescent-like lunge. If you choose, you're going to start twist your sternum, chest to the left. Push, make sure you're stable through those legs, and then maybe revolve left arm out to the left or to the sky. Breath in here. Breath out. Stay, one more beat if you're okay. As you exhale, rotate back down, drop the knee, both knees up underneath you. Good. Let's find ourselves in child's pose, bringing our toes together, knees apart, walking our hands way out in front. You've got 5 breaths there in child's pose. Letting the head drop, let it be heavy. Make sure we're letting all of the breath out. So the mind might get busy, start to place judgment, and our practice is to come back to our breath and really focus on the deepest breath you can take in and the biggest breath you can let out. Last breath here. On your next inhale, we're going to come up to our hands and knees. Take our hands as wide as the mat. Bend our elbows just slightly. Melt our heart down towards the ground. Bring the shoulder blades, especially the bottom tips, towards each other. Let the heart melt. Take the tail up. Possibly look up a little bit. It's kind of a weird cat-cow, pushing down through the hands, bringing chin towards the chest, tuck the tail. Breath in, belly drops, chest drops the most. Bring your bottom tips of your shoulder blades towards each other. Tail up, maybe you decide to look up. Push through the hands, let the breath all the way out. On your next breath in, melt that heart. Belly gets to drop, tail goes up, maybe head, chin goes up. Still just this little bend to the elbow, seeing if we can get our heart melted a little bit closer to the ground. On your next inhale, you're going to come on up and grab blocks or something that's going to work as blocks. And we're going to end up with the blocks back towards our feet or maybe towards our shins. Okay, so it depends on if you're using the props and how we're using a blanket bed. Okay, so the blocks are back, this highest position, back by our ankles kind of. From here, we're going to look forward and then draw our feet, if it's all right with your ankles and toes, so that the toes are pointing forward and I'm on the balls of my feet here. From here, you're going to inhale, reach back with your right fingertips and see if you can find your block. So I'm rotating to the right, finding my block with my right fingertips. From here, if it feels all right, you're going to inhale, bring your left arm up to the sky. And then see if you can find your hand placed on that right block just a little bit more. So all of my weight is in my right block. Left fingertips are kind of balancing that with reaching up to the sky. See if it feels all right to tuck your tail under a little bit and draw your hips forward. Open up through your chest. Reach either up to the sky with your left hand or back behind you. Take a deep breath in here. Beautiful. Exhale, bring left hand forward. And then we'll lift ourselves to all fours. We'll do the same thing to the other side. Left hand's going to find the block behind you, maybe with just fingertips. Reach right fingertips up and maybe behind you. And then find that left hand, really getting the placement of the left hand on that block. Toes are curled under. Then you're going to reach your top hand way up, maybe back behind you. Tuck your tail under, hips forward, maybe look up. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, draw your right arm forward and lift yourself out of the pose. So choice to do that again, or if some of you can do full camel with your hands on the blocks, opening, bringing your heart forward, great, but I'm going to talk you through just a revolve like we just did. All right, so right hand goes to your block again. Bring left fingertips up to the sky. Reach up and away. Heart opens. Tail tucks. Maybe pelvis moves forward. Soft through the tops of the shoulders. Breath in. Breath out. Good. Inhale. Reach your left fingertips to the front of the room. Let it get you out of the pose and switch it. Left fingertips to the block. Reach right fingertips up. Back behind you. Start to look up possibly. Tuck your tail under. Then see if your hips want to shift forward. Let your heart really open here. Breath in. Breath out. Inhale, reach your right fingertips forward. Let it bring you out of the pose. And join me in child's pose. Kissing those toes together, knees apart, walking your arms out in front. 5 breaths there. Inhaling, coming on up to all fours, letting the breath out as you arrive. Let's go into twisted child's pose. Reaching your right fingertips up to the sky, twisting your sternum, your chest to the right, maybe looking up to the sky. As you exhale, you're going to swoop the right hand behind the left, reach away, drop to the right shoulder, right ear. For today, if it feels all right, you're going to take your left hand a little adjacent to the head. Your left elbow is going to point up to the sky. You're going to push down through your left hand and see if you can start to twist a little bit deeper to the left or maybe a lot. Breath in here. Breath out. Back out of your twist. See if your body's going to welcome your right fingertips reaching a little bit further to the right. Then push down again through your left hand, left elbows to the sky, and start to revolve once again to the right. We'll stay here for 2 breaths. Stay here, one more breath, because I think I said revolve right, but I really meant left. So we're revolving to the left, and one more breath. Good, push down through your left hand, reach right up to the sky. See if it's a little bit easier to reach it on up, maybe look on up, and then exhale, drop that hand on down. Good, other side you go. Inhale, left fingertips up to the sky. Maybe revolve chest to the left, maybe head starts to reach, or look up to the sky. Exhale, left hand behind right, reach away, drop to the left shoulder, left ear. For today, if it's okay, right hand's gonna come a little adjacent to the head, elbow up to the sky, push down through your right hand, and see if you can twist a little bit deeper to the right. 2 breaths here. If there's any option to do a little bit more, back off with your right hand. So you're going to come out of your twist just a little bit. Reach your left fingertips a little bit further away. Then push down through your right hand, right elbow up to the sky, and start to twist and revolve to that right side. 2 breaths here once again. Letting the breath all the way out. Draw your navel towards your spine. Push all that breath up. Then push down through your right hand, reach up, breath in, twist, open. Breath out, both hands to the ground. All right, let's get into our relaxation pose. So we're gonna take either a couch cushion, our bolster, or our pillows and stack them at the top of your mat. Once you get that going, we're going to sit on our left hip. So my left hip is right up against these bolsters. My knees are pointed to the left. Now we're going to see if our body again will twist towards the bolsters. And if it doesn't, you're just going to take more of a child's pose with toes together, knees apart, as opposed to the twist. If the twist is starting to feel okay, you're going to turn your sternum towards the props and then drop your chest into the props. Let your hands kind of hug the props. And you're going to look to the right, at least to start with. And a nice little restorative pose, just letting our chest fall onto the bolsters. We'll take a few breaths here, letting the breath stay in the ribs. So as you breathe in, you kind of feel the breath push you lightly into the bolsters or the props. And then as you exhale, it's like you drop a little bit heavier into them. So it's a really small movement. As you bring your breath into your rib cage, the rib cage puffs, and you kind of feel it press into the bolsters. And then as you exhale, it's like this dropping into the props a little bit deeper. You could stay right here, or you can inhale, lift your head slightly, look down at the bolsters. The neck might stay, that's plenty, and you could turn to the right and settle again. Or you look down and then start to look to the left some and see if your right ear might want to drop down to the cushion. We'll stay here for 3 breaths. No matter where your head and neck want to be, allow it to be. Inhaling, letting your head turn back to the right if it wasn't already. Gently pushing down through the hands so you can lift out of the pose. And you'll be able to just turn yourself to the other side, but I'm going to revolve just so I can see you. So we'll end up with now our right hip snuggled up against our props. Our knees pointed out to the right, and then the hands will kind of hug around the props. The chest will start to turn towards the props, and we'll allow ourselves to lean over. Our gaze will end up to the left for right now. Your hands, forearms will just kind of lay to the side, allowing yourself to settle here for 3 nice deep breaths in and out. See if you can feel your ribs inflate and gently push into the props. And then as they deflate, just settling on in. Pushing all the breath all the way out of your system. Drawing your navel towards your spine. If you choose, inhale, lift your head, look down at your props. Exhale, see if there's any movement of the head, being okay with turning to the right, possibly dropping left ear to the props. You might do it for a moment, you might not do it at all, you might stay there, learning what your body says is okay and what's not. Noticing how the props are there for you to settle into. Let's all go ahead and turn our head back to the left if it wasn't there already. Push your hands, bring them a little bit closer to your sides, and then we're going to push up out of the pose, and we'll all end up in child's pose. Like if you want your blanket under your knees or maybe under your ankles, you can do so. Your choice to either be in regular child's pose, or if you want to take a block or maybe 2 blocks and bump up your pillows, your bolsters, or your couch cushions so that now you've got kind of a reclined child's pose here. So you'll end up with your toes kissing together. Your knees are to the outside of the bolsters, just barely. And then you'll bring your spine nice and long, and then melt your heart down into the bolster. Your head will turn one way, and you might find that you have a little pocket for your arms to come underneath the bolsters and get a nice hug here. So if it doesn't feel right with the props that you have, come into regular child's pose, toes together, knees apart, belly, chest, head, drop. We'll stay here for 4 breaths. See how heavy your body can feel. Possibly using those props as support to just drop into. Doing your best to relieve any tension you're holding in your shoulders. Let your heart drop into the mat or the props. And let your head be really heavy. One more breath in, take it deep down into your belly. And then when you're ready, exhale it slowly out and really push all the breath out of your mouth or your nose, but just get all the breath out. On your next inhale, you're going to push yourself out of child's pose. If you're using both props, get them out of the way. We're going to end up on our backs. If we're going to go into butterfly pose, because we've been doing restorative, it might be really nice to get your props, your blocks, or your pillows to the sides of your knees. Restorative poses actually have a lot of benefits, especially if we're holding tension. So I encourage you to use your blocks or your props. You'll be on your back, bottoms of the feet together, knees drape either out to the side or use those blocks or your pillows to just give your knees a little bit of a lift up. So we want to feel a stretch, but it's a small stretch. And then the idea here in the small stretch is that the body starts to really use these props to drop into. And the nervous system says, oh, I've got something here. I don't have to worry about holding. or protecting. And so hopefully the whole legs and hips just feel like they can drop into the prop. Your hands can be on your stomach, or you might decide you like your arms up overhead. The fingertips or the hands might kind of hold each other, and the elbows might kind of poke out to the side to mimic what you're doing with your knees. So kind of noticing what feels best for you. We'll pause here for about 3 minutes. This is going to be our Shavasana for the night. So make sure that you're not in a deep stretch, that you feel like your legs can just drop. The jaw is nice and soft. And the eyes are nice and soft. We'll take some stillness and some quiet here. Allow your breath to start to deepen. If your arms are up overhead, start to drape them to your side. If your knees are still into butterfly pose, start to bring them towards each other. We'll roll ourselves on over to a side and take a pause there. Just allowing yourself to notice if it feels good or it doesn't. And just see how good you can allow yourself to feel on your side. Full breath in. Big breath out. Allowing yourself to come on up to seated position. Sitting up tall, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, checking in with the neck, the spine, the pelvis. Just seeing stay on the knees or at heart center or a place that resonates with you. Thank you for joining me in this practice this evening. Namaste.